In the most recent Brawl Stars update, we got two changes that are going to make it harder for you to unlock Chromatic Brawlers and Legendary Brawlers for free. These are the rarest and some of the most fun brawlers to play in the game. I'm KairosTime, and it's time to brawl, and it's also time for my 100% honest review of the most recent update. For this video, I'm going to talk about exactly what Supercell did to make these changes. Then, of course, I'm going to be sharing my 100% honest thoughts on it, okay? But first of all, I wanted to share my thoughts on everything else that came with this update, and then at the end of this video, I'm going to be ranking this update on a scale from 1 being the worst update in Brawl Stars history to 10 being the best. Let's start off with the newest brawler, Lou. My feelings for Lou are kind of bittersweet, okay? Mostly good, but kind of also some negative. First of all, I love Lou's mechanics. Slowing with his attack and his star power, crazy strong in the right situations, and I think it is going to have a big impact because Lou's gonna be able to charge up his super a lot of the time if you're able to hit his shots, which is going to give him a ton of control on the field. At least the version of Lou that I play tested, I think he's gonna be a little bit weak on release just because of the damage that he does. It's really low, and I've shared that feedback with Supercell, but you should definitely take that with a grain of salt because I've only played him against bots, and I haven't played him in that many matches, even against the bots, right? My opinion mostly comes from his performance in my Brawl Stars Olympics video and Lex's Lou versus all Brawlers video. So my opinion could definitely be wrong, okay? I'm not saying that Lou's gonna be terrible or anything like that. I'm just like, if he needs a change, he needs a slight buff. But I think he is going to be a monster in just in the right modes and on the right maps. He's gonna be crazy on defense and siege because he can freeze the enemy boss so easily. And I think that he's gonna be useful in gem grab, brawl ball, and possibly hot zone. He might not have enough HP to survive well in hot zone, but he does control that whole hot zone, so it's kind of tough to say. He's certainly not going to need an emergency nerf like Amber, right? I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I'd rather have the new brawler be a little bit too strong than a little bit too weak. Just because I think it's more fun that way. As for Lou's character design, I love snow cones, guys. My very first job was at a snow cone shop, so I feel like I've said this before, he's kind of like a cool guy. I will be honest though, I'm not as excited for Lou as I was for like Surge and Colette and Amber. Honestly, I think the Supercell crushed it with their character designs, and I think that, you know, Lou, he's a good fit for the Brawl Stars universe. When it came to which brawler was going to complete the Snow Tell trio, I was thinking like maybe like some sort of like snowman or something like that. A snow cone machine makes so much sense. I don't know why I did not think about that. So I think he's really good, and honestly, I'm kind of afraid of getting a lot of brain freeze in my unboxing challenge for Lou. First fire, now ice. What's next, Supercell? Like electricity or something like that? Please just don't. No, please. Okay, I promise I'm going to talk about chromatic and legendary drop rates, but for now, let's talk about the two new event slots in Brawl Stars. Specifically, the map entry slot where you get to play and vote on maps made by players, and the competition winner where people play the highest voted map from the previous day for trophies. I love these features so much. I think that this is such an awesome idea, and I really do think they're going to change Brawl Stars forever. There are a lot of aspects about Brawl Stars that make it a great game. Obviously, like character design as far as like their abilities go and brawler balance plays a really big role in that. But I would agree that the maps that we play the brawlers on is equally as important. It might not be as exciting, but it is definitely important. We all have maps that we just do not like, right? But here's the deal. It takes a lot of time to design a map that is not only fair, but also fun to play on. I know because I've tried doing it, and sometimes I've done okay. Sometimes I'm just like, this was a terrible idea, right? Supercell has spent a ton of time and resources to try and create maps that are fun, but there's just no way. There's no way. It's impossible for the team of Brawl Stars. Even if all the team members on Brawl Stars went to and try and made their best maps possible, they cannot come with the combined creativity and passion from the millions of players that play their game every single day. We are about to have an ever-changing number of maps that will cater to a ton of different play styles and will be incredibly fun, and I cannot wait. I can only imagine that Supercell is going to be looking at the play rates for the map winners, you know, the ones that we get to play 24 hours for trophies, and I can almost guarantee you guys they are going to be comparing them to the current map rotation, and I think it's a safe bet to say that they are going to be adding many of those map winners into the game for future rotations to be played for a long time, until eventually people start to get bored of them, which is fine because by then, Supercell will have tons of other maps to choose from to replace them. This is going to change the game forever. And I haven't really even talked about how awesome I think that the map testing event slot is going to be. We're now gonna be able to play Brawl Stars on ever-changing maps without having to worry about trophies, and we can complete quests on them. Are you kidding me? This is so awesome. And the map is going to change every 10 seconds, which means that you could play all day and never play the same map again, right? And also miss out on the majority of the maps. I'm sure that a lot of the maps are not going to be fun, right? I'm certain of it. Some of them are just going to be hot garbage, but I'm even excited to play the bad maps. Sometimes things are so bad that they're actually good, right? I mean, this shouldn't be put into the game permanently, but it gives you a good chuckle or laugh, right? Now, what I'm really curious on is your thoughts on the way that Supercell has made it so that we have to get maps approved by a certain number of players. At the time that I'm recording this, I haven't personally tried to do it, and I imagine that I wouldn't have a difficult time because lots of people would want to just play a map with me, but I can see how a lot of people, probably the majority of people, would have a difficult time finding other people to play and test your maps and get it approved with a high enough rate that it will actually make it into the map testing event slot. I think this Supercell is honestly really smart for doing it like this for a couple of reasons. I think that a lot of non-quality maps will still get approved just because you got some friends and you're like, guys, come approve my map, and you do it because you don't want to hurt the feelings of the person, right? But what I think is really important is how it will make it harder to get like offensive maps or maps that are just not appropriate for the game to get published, right? Because if 10 people approve a map that is offensive or graphic or something like that, Supercell can just put bans on all 10 of their accounts, and eventually people catch on and they can't put offensive maps into the game without risking their account getting banned. It's gonna be really easy for Supercell to flag those accounts because when they do get played for the actual event slot, they're gonna get downvoted a lot, right? And then we are eventually not going to have to play through so much garbage when we're voting for maps. And I think that's actually pretty genius. Now, as for the changes that have been made to the map maker, I think it's awesome that Supercell applied our feedback so quickly. Some of the first pieces of feedback that I gave to Supercell when I tried the first version of the map maker was, hey, we need to be able to mirror diagonally, and we need to be able to use springs and teleporters. And they took it a step further and made it so that you can block off parts of the map so long as you have a teleporter or a spring to get you out. And I love that. I didn't even think about that, and when I tried it out, I was like, this is gonna be so much fun. I still do not think that the map maker is finished, and Supercell already let us know, hey guys, it's still in beta, and there's a lot more that they would like to add to it before it's ready for version 1.0 of the map maker, right? One thing I'm really looking forward to is for them to make it so it's easier to share and play and copy other people's maps. When the map maker first came out, I was like, oh, I'm totally gonna do videos covering like the coolest maps, right? And then I was like, oh, I have to sit down and I have to individually put all the tiles myself, and that's gonna take me hours. And I was like, I got videos to do. That's gonna take too long, right? So I hope they're gonna do that. I'm sure that they will. I also hope that they make more special tiles to put into the game, like turrets or power-up spawns or things like that that could heal or damage or buff players in various different ways. I also really hope that they can make it so that we can do custom rules for the map by allowing us to adjust win conditions. Like, each team has 3 goals and you gotta score 5 times, right? Or you only have to have 3 gems to get a win in gem grab or stuff like that. Like, let us be able to adjust things like that, or even be able to adjust the brawler's characteristics, like all players move 3 times as fast, or deal half the amount of damage, or heal twice as quickly, or don't heal at all. There is so much that they could do with this map maker, and I think that Brawl Stars is going to be around for a very long time, as long as they make the right adjustments, because tapping into people's creativity it just makes the game so much fun. You just look at Minecraft, right? Brawl Stars, in a way, is going to become like Minecraft if they do these things right, because we're going to be able to have like ultimate creativity. It's just awesome. Very quickly, I want to talk about the skins and the Brawl Pass, and then we'll talk about chromatic and legendary brawlers. I already did a video showing all of the skins, their gem costs, and when they're going to be released, so check that out if you haven't already. I just want to say a couple quick things, okay? I love Bellhop Mike. I think that I would rate him at around 110 gems worth of a skin. So as part of the Brawl Pass, he's a good addition, right? I do think that King Lou is also an awesome skin. I would rate him at around 130 gems, which, I mean, he's part of the Brawl Pass. I don't really like him nearly as much as like Trixie Colette or Mecha Paladin Surge or even Merchant Gale, all of which were skins unlockable at the end of the previous Brawl Passes. And I would rate all of them between 200 and 300 gem skins. And so I think if you're going to spend any money in Brawl Stars, buying the Brawl Pass is a no-brainer. It is the first thing that you should do if you're willing to spend any money, because it provides just insane amounts of value to your account progression-wise. So to me, Brawl Pass skins are just kind of like a nice bonus that you get on top of everything else. So it's not super important to me that King Lou or Bellhop Mike are going to be like the coolest skins in the game, because to me, they're just add-ons. They're just bonuses. And maybe Supercell set the bar a little bit too high with the previous seasons. Now, as for the other 3 skins, I gotta be honest, okay? I was not familiar with Line Friends very well before Brawl Stars had a partnership with them. So the Line skins don't really appeal to me very much. Obviously, this video is all about honesty. I'm gonna be honest. I do think Choco Piper is pretty cute. Definitely worth the 80 gems in my opinion. And I totally get the appeal for the other Line Friends skin if you are a fan of Line Friends. But I think Coney Max, then Sally, Nani, they're just not my personal favorites. I don't think that they're worth 150 gems. I'm still going to buy them because I have to have every skin in the game so I can create content around them. And I am certain that these skins will be super popular in other places around the world. And that's awesome. That's fine with me. It's okay for me to not love every skin in the game, especially because there are some really awesome skins in Brawl Stars. I don't know how you guys feel about the Line skins. Maybe I'm just ignorant of the Line merchandise line and you guys think they're awesome. Totally get that. Choco Piper, I'm excited about Choco Piper. By the way, when it comes to comparing Season 3's Brawl Pass to Season 4's, Season 4's offers the same exact amount of value, both for the free and the paid side of the pass, progression-wise, when compared to Season 3's Brawl Pass. You do, however, get 1 additional pin for Lou, but that's the only change, and I think that's a fair enough trade-off for the 2 skins not being as high quality as the previous Brawl Passes. What is different is when and how you can unlock Chromatic Brawlers and how they impact your legendary drop rates. These are 2 separate issues, so I'm going to address each one of them individually. Then we'll rate this update from 1 to 10. As I'm sure you guys are very aware, you must now reach tier 30 before you can unlock a Chromatic Brawler for the current season, period. Obviously, you can't unlock them before tier 30 from the Brawl Pass, but even when you are opening Brawl boxes, you cannot unlock Lou until you reach tier 30 in Season 4's Brawl Pass. Previous Chromatic Brawlers are unlockable from the boxes anytime, just to clarify. It only counts for the current season's Brawl Pass. This means, for me personally, that if I want to do a box opening challenge video for Lou on day 1, or for any future Chromatic Brawler, I have to spend 900 gems to get to tier 30 before opening boxes. That's $50 US every 2 months that I have to spend that I did not have to spend before. That's enough to feed my 2 kids, my wife, and I for a few days if we budget it out properly, right? Like, quite honestly, that sucks. Let me tell you why I think that Supercell still made the right decision. There are not a whole lot of players out there that are like me and have hundreds of Brawl boxes just sitting there, right? But what you do have to realize about Brawl Stars is that it is designed so that if you actively play every day, even if you're a free-to-play player, you will eventually have a maxed out account. Brawl Stars does not release new brawlers frequently enough to make it impossible for a free-to-play player to reach endgame content. I've done the math. That is a fact. And this is something that I love about Brawl Stars. It is very free-to-play friendly. Love that. But as a side effect of that, there is a small percentage of the player base that does have every brawler maxed out with lots of boxes to spare. And the amount of players like that is slowly increasing because more players get to that point and stay there and stay active in the game because they love Brawl Stars. That means that whenever a new brawler is released, no matter how rare that brawler is, the meta gets flooded with the new brawler because these players stop playing any other brawler to try out the new game's content. It's only natural that they would want to do that, right? But this means that the tiny 1% of players in that position end up creating a toxic game experience for the other 99% of the players. Obviously, those aren't accurate numbers, but it proves a point. By making it so that the new Chromatic Brawler is not attainable until tier 30 for all players, the new brawler will trickle into the game much slower rather than being flooded out, since players will reach tier 30 at different rates. There will be a tiny percent of people who are willing to gem to tier 30 on day 1 to get it first. Another small percent of people will buy the Brawl Pass bundle and will reach it next. There are also going to be super active Brawl Pass buyers that will get it after that because of the bonus quest that you get from the Brawl Pass. Then less active Brawl Pass buyers will get it. Then super active free-to-play friendlies who don't have the Brawl Pass but also have a lot of boxes saved up. Then there will be less active free-to-play players who do have boxes saved up. And then everyone else will eventually get it, and it's going to trickle down like that. But there are a lot of other reasons why I think that this is a good change, even though it sucks for me personally, and even though it sucks for some of you guys watching right now personally. It's going to make it a lot more fair for players who do buy the Brawl Pass but haven't been playing long enough to have a bunch of boxes stored up. It's going to make it feel a lot less like a slap in the face when you've already unlocked the Chromatic Brawler and then you reach tier 30 and that Chromatic Brawler is replaced with a single measly big box when it was supposed to be the highlight of the entire Brawl Pass, right? And I know that a lot of people don't view this as an issue, but I've talked a lot in the past about how Brawl Stars does a very bad job at catering to whales, people who are able to and willing to spend a lot on the game's development. This was a major point of concern that I brought up in a video earlier this year, talking about things that Supercell needed to fix by the end of 2020. The beauty of this change is that it will positively cater to whales who will jump to tier 30, and it does so without negatively impacting the overall progression of everyone else, right? That is awesome because whales get to feel special and unique at the start of the Brawler's release, but it's not like Supercell is making progression harder for everyone else, which is typically how other games try to cater to whales. It's genius. I love it. That's awesome. It sucks for me, but it is good for the future of Brawl Stars. Like I said, this change sucks for a lot of people, especially the dedicated players who have been playing Brawl Stars for a long time or who have spent a lot of money on the game and have boxes stored up. But I think that it is a positive change for the game as a whole, which is why I support it. This is one issue there. There's another issue. Legendary Brawler drop rates. Just in case you guys did not know, there is a luck system affecting the probability of unlocking a Legendary Brawler. Every time you open up a box that does not give you a new Brawler, your luck value goes up. And when you do unlock a new Brawler, your luck value goes down. Unlocking low rarity Brawlers makes it go down just a little bit, and unlocking high rarity Brawlers makes it go down by quite a bit. There is and has always been an exception to this rule. If you decide to buy a Brawler from a special like this, or even like this, your luck value does not drop. This makes sense, right? If you're going to buy something in the game, it should not hurt your ability to get the rarest Brawlers in the game. However, when the new chromatic rarity was put into the game, Supercell obviously made it so that unlocking a chromatic Brawler from tier 30 in the past would not hurt your legendary drop rates. And it shouldn't. Once again, you should not get penalized for supporting the game's development. But for some reason, Supercell also made it so that unlocking a chromatic Brawler from a box for free would not negatively impact your legendary luck rate like it does for every other rarity. For some reason, they made the chromatic Brawlers an exception. I honestly don't know why they did it like this. I'm not sure if it was an oversight in the coding because chromatic was new and different, or if this was intended, but when I learned that chromatic Brawlers were the exception, I was honestly kind of surprised, right? It didn't make sense that every rarity in the game would decrease drop rates other than chromatic Brawlers to me, right? Don't get me wrong, I was not going to complain. I did not bring this up as like, hey, Supercell, you should fix this, because after all, I was really dying during the Amber unboxing challenge. But it definitely did not make sense to me, because every other month we get a new chromatic Brawler, which means that over half of the Brawlers being put into the game were not going to impact legendary drop rates. That would make sense to me if the other half of the Brawlers that Supercell was putting into the game were all legendary Brawlers, but I wouldn't want that, all right? I like super rares. I like epics too, easier Brawlers to unlock. So once again, I know that this change sucks. I'm already nervous for my next legendary unboxing video. I don't think this is going to have a huge impact on the majority of players, but it does really suck for players like me, or like a lot of you guys watching right now that do have a lot of Brawl boxes stored up. With that said, I 100% agree with Supercell's decision to do it like this. Honestly, I think the reason why many of us are upset with these changes is just because we're no longer able to abuse a system that shouldn't have been there in the first place. If Supercell implemented these things when chromatic rarities were first put in the game, I don't think hardly any of us would like bat an eye. I think we'd just be like, huh, that makes sense. I'm just glad we were able to abuse the system while we could. And now it is time for me to rate this update on a scale from 1 to 10. But before we do that, I just want to say one quick thing. 2020 has been full of a lot of just sucky stuff, right? And during a year when everything going around in the world has, like I said, just been really sucky, Brawl Stars has been a constant source of enjoyment for millions of people, myself included, right? I think that that is awesome. If we needed this anytime, this is a great time for Brawl Stars to really pull through, and it makes me really thankful to be a part of this community. If 1 is the worst update in Brawl Stars, and 10 is the best, and 5 is average, I'm gonna rate this update as a 6.5. It was small, and honestly, we've been pretty spoiled with Brawl Stars content recently, right? I really love the direction that Brawl Stars is going, and every update in 2020 has been awesome. The last time I played a game that got consistent updates that I just like thoroughly loved for over a year was Clash of Clans. Clash Royale was pretty close to perfect during its first year, but honestly, I just can't believe the consistency that Brawl Stars has been able to release amazing content for us. This update was only a 6.5. And it's only been a few weeks since the last update. So I'd say that's actually like pretty good, right? It was small, but what we got was good, and I'm more than fine with that. And that is my 100% honest review of the most recent update. I am sure that many of you guys have very different feelings than I do, so make sure you let me know what your thoughts are in the section below. Make sure you subscribe for more quality Brawl Stars content. Use code Kairos in the Brawl Stars shop. Hope you enjoyed the video, and for now, guys, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.